Welcome back to Table Talk. Our first guest today is Shelly Miller from Miller Photography, and we're going to talk about photo preservation. Welcome to the show, Shelly.
Thanks for having me.
This is something that, with the weather being bad outside, we thought would be a great topic as people have a little bit more time indoors to look at their photos. That's something we enjoy looking at, but with the technology today, we don't always print them off and have hard copies like we used to.
Right. And yeah, with it being wintertime, I think it is a good time to drag those boxes out of the closet, because I know everybody has them, and start going through them and really having a permanent solution for your photos. So yeah, I'm a really big cheerleader for printing your photos. I think that when you come in the house, you should see prints on the wall, things that are important to you, prints in frames. I think that if you really love that image that you took or had taken, you should be able to view it every day. So I think the most important thing is, if you have photos that you love, print them and have them out in books, make albums, so people can view them and enjoy them.
I know that's a favorite pastime as the kids are indoors for the winter, they always like to pull those out and take a look at when they were little. So we've got these big boxes, photos, we take so many now compared to what we used to, and it can be a little bit overwhelming. So you've got all those envelopes full of your printed ones. You've got digital photos. How do we begin the process of getting those organized?
Right. Well, I'm really thinking you need to start and edit, because you'll have lots of boxes from your vacations, and I think you need to go through those and pick out the very best of the best images. It's great that you have photos of a lighthouse that you saw at Simon's Island, but I think you should go through them and you should get rid of the photos that a lot of times don't have people in them. That's the ones that people want to keep the most, is showing their kids growing up and the family vacations and great landscapes, things that where you went. But I think we take too many of the same thing. I know I did a lot in the film days. I would take my whole roll of film on a lighthouse or Disney World or wherever you're going. But what are you really going to do with those photos?
Right.
And so I think that it's a good time to just go through all of your boxes, your vacations, and edit down to just the best of the best photos. And so that will help you a lot of making the best ones go into an album and not have ones that don't mean as much to you.
Right, somebody's got their eyes closed or something
I see
like
so
that.
many, they're out of focus or their thumb is, over and they're overexposed or underexposed. You really just need to let those go and just keep the very best ones.
Is it still a good practice to keep, say we've got the little strips of
the negatives?
The negatives, yes. Is it still good to keep those?
Yes, it is, but you need to restore them correctly. There's boxes that you can, like Container Store, or you can buy that that will seal the negatives and keep them dry. You don't want to store anything where it'll get wet, the humidity. So don't store your photos in the basement. Don't store them in the attic where it gets too hot. You need to have a temperature controlled, environment. And so, and they need to have several boxes to where they can lay flat. And things like that. So it's good. You can keep the negatives, you can keep the prints, but make sure they're in boxes that are archival and they don't have. You don't use acid, tape or glue, because a lot of times how we used to make the scrapbooks and we'd glue and things like that, and that starts eating away at the photos and everything, and so they won't be preserved.
Compromises, and then you want to take them out of there and it rips the picture.
Yeah,
I've had that happen before
exactly.
myself.
Yeah.
So during this process, you've culled out all the ones that are, you think you can live without. Handling them, is there precautions we need to take? Of course, you've got different levels. You've got one you snapped yesterday and had printed off, and then you've got maybe a 50-year-old photo that is very special to you.
Yeah, and I think on those that you really need to get an album put together. You need to have acid-free pages. You don't use you need to use the photo corners. So you won't be taping them and any kind of adhesive. So put them in an album that will preserve them. Make sure that you're keeping it in, in a temperature controlled, so in the house, on the bookshelf, things like that. And that way they're to be enjoyed. You can take them down and look at them. If they're really old photos, old, I would always recommend making a copy. A digital copy and putting that on a USB or an external hard drive, and also uploading to some of the iCloud services, so you'll always have that photo. But again, if it's something that you love, print it so you can see it either in a scrapbook that will preserve it over time.
I didn't think about that till you mentioned that about the photo corners, but I always thought they were just decorative, but they're not, are they?
No. As long as you get the kind that's not the acid, and stuff. Yeah, the photo corners are the best, because other than that, I mean, you would be taping it down or gluing it down, and that's going to eat away at the photos over time.
Right.
So.
Basically, the photo has no adhesive on it at that point, just the corners do. Well, that's neat.
Yeah.
So we've got all of these digital photos, and the process of archiving those are a little bit different. I guess we would start with editing them out again.
Yeah, I think that you really need, same way with the film days, but in the digital, you need to start trying to edit as you shoot, photos, the best of the best you want to keep. On your camera, you download, get rid of the ones that were out of focus that didn't work and stuff, so you don't have a huge digital library to work with. On your phone, you can easily delete, and just keep the best. But you should have a backup for your camera on your phone. You can automatically, if you have like Amazon Prime, you can download an app, an Amazon photo app, and it will automatically back up to Amazon Prime. You can also back up to the cloud, your digital, and you can make albums, you can make, organize them, you can share to family and automatically, do things like that. So I think the biggest thing is just do it soon. Don't procrastinate to when you have a huge box in your closet or several boxes or a digital library on your phone that is too big to even start working on.
Right.
So.
Well, usually our phone runs out of memory at some point anyway.
Yes.
So, you've got the photos uploaded to your computer, but we talked about, like you said, backing up, very important with all of these apps. Do these apps cost, or should we pay?
Well, some of them, most of them are free, and most of them are free to so much storage, so much space. And after you get so many photos, gigabytes and terabytes, you have to pay. But for the most part, like Amazon Prime, you have that membership, and you have so much space for your photos. Actually Facebook, a lot of people have Facebook. It's a good place to put photos. I mean, you can build albums and everything like that. There's also one called Shoebox that you can get. And most of these apps are free. There's also Dropbox, and I had wrote some other, Google Photos and Flickr. Those are still around that you can upload, and they're free up to a certain amount. And then after that, you can pay. It depends on how much photos you have, and and a lot of times they'll range $2.99 a month to $5.99 a month, depending on how much storage you need for your photos. But back up, you really, a lot of people have the CDs or DVDs now. Computers are coming out without those drives anymore. So, what are you going to do with that CD, besides a coaster later?
Yes.
So, then you go to USB. Again, computers are going to start, stop having the USB port. So you need external drives And those, I'll tell you, I've knocked them off of my desk and they've exploded, and I can't access those photos. But you know, I always back up to another, you know, so you always have a second backup, and I do, because you know that's professional photography business. But you know, for personal, you may not back up twice. So, but I think you have to follow technology and
stay on top
of it. If you've got a lot of CDs at home or DVDs of images, now's a good time to start moving them to something else. You know, the cloud, Amazon Prime, Flickr, something like that to keep them.
And like you said, print them off and enjoy them.
Print them, because yeah, just, you know, why do we have photos? It's because we can look at them and, you know, it brings back great memories, and you need to have those out so you can see them.
Well, I think we've addressed, my last question was future proofing. So just staying on top of it, and the cloud hopefully is going to be out there for a long time to come.
Yeah, and that's another thing. You have to, you know, what happens if Facebook goes away, and what happens if the cloud's gone and Dropboxes are gone and stuff. So you really need to have a printed copy of these, keep them in a safe location, humidity controlled, you know, and temperature controlled. You also have to think about, you know, fire. We've had, you know, the fires in California and the mudslides and everything they've lost, I'm sure. So a lot of people keeping them on something like the cloud or Amazon, they can access them later, a digital copy, or even having a fireproof box with your most important photos in them in a safe. Keep them in a safe deposit box, your negatives and things like that.
And the older ones where we did not have the digital, maybe scan those.
Yeah, scan them, take a photo of them, get them in good light on a flat surface with your phone, and take a photo of them so you will have them later on if something happens. So.
Good tip, Shelly. Thank you so much. I want to go home and start organizing
just do
those.
it as soon as possible.
Yeah, well, with all the weather outside and everything, and the time of year is great. So thank you for being here today and pushing through the weather to get here to be with us. Don't go far. We'll have some more great information with Brian up next on Table Talk.